It's been a season to forget so far for the Eskimos.
Leading continues. They're now 1-6.
Coming off a humiliating loss to the Stamps, Richie Hall is looking at the second half of the year as a brand new season. Turning things around won't be easy with the boys from Saskatchewan in town. It's the Riders and the Eskimos, and it's next. There's Ricky Ray, says, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everybody just relax. I'm okay. Ready to go tonight for the Eskimos. Jared Zabransky got a bunch of reps in practice this week just in case he is needed. All hands on deck as the Eskimos try to turn things around tonight against the Riders. It's the CFL on TSN as we bring this abbreviated bye week to a close on a Saturday night. Hi, everybody. Dave Randorf and Milt Stiegel, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. And boys, this is without a doubt the most, if not the most, troubling time in Edmonton Eskimos franchise history. The team is 1-6. They're coming off that 56-15 pounding to Calgary of all teams a couple of weeks ago. They've let the GM go. One coach has resigned. They fired another. They brought in a new offensive line coach by the name of Tim Princeton, a former player. With all due respect to Tim Princeton, how much effect can he have tonight when they're trying to change everything?
Dave, in all sincerity, he can have an effect. As an offensive line coach, Tim Princeton was a very good football player, a good coach. But boy, is he ready as a football coach to lead this team. And watch this little get-together and the leadership that he shows. Tim Princeton is the new offensive line coach, and it's going to make a difference because that's the fundamental part of football.
With passion and violence and strong fundamentals, we're going to get after them, and we'll be after them all day. Okay? Okay? Now the game is going to be up and down. That's how football's played. Something goes wrong, who cares? Get ready to move on to the next play, because that's the most important play, is the next play, okay? Bring it in. Let's go. Hey, violence on 3. 1, 2, 3. Violence.
He's demonstrating leadership right there, and that can make a difference. Could be a brilliant hire.
Chelsea, he's a little jacked up, isn't he?
He's a little jacked up.
That's good. You know, I think that offensive line can feed off of that. But, you know, big question is Ricky Ray healthy? If he's not, don't even dress him. Don't even give yourself that temptation to pull him and throw him on the field. And the second question is simply this. Who's your backup? If it's Zabransky, play Zabransky. Get rid of Moss and find a third-team guy that you can groom for the future. And the third thing, what is your scheme? Are you going to trick people like you did in Calgary, or are you going to run a base offense? Hopefully they run a base offense. Be a lot easier for Tim Princeton to coach that offensive line if they do. Just go out there and run an offense much like the Saskatchewan Roughriders do, and do it consistently and do it better than anybody else.
Speaking of that Rough Rider offense, the main piece of that puzzle, Darian Durant has been doing a great job. And the reason has been his physical attributes are great, but his approach to the game. Early on in his career, he was a 9-5 guy. Now he's the first guy there and the last guy to leave. And I think what's happened is it trickles down to the rest of the team, and usually the victories are usually the result of that effect.
Darian Durant and the Riders scored 11 points in the fourth quarter the last time these two teams met back in Week 3. That was in Regina. Tonight, we're in Edmonton. There's going to be a lot of Rider fans on hand, as they always are. Big crowd expected at Commonwealth. Kickoff is next. Dorothy Wendell of Airdrie, Alberta. You could win a 2010 Nissan Rogue if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in tonight's game, thanks to Safeway's touchdown and win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned, you could win $1 million. Riders, Eskimos, let's take you now to Commonwealth Stadium. Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter standing by.
Thank you, David. Rider Nation has invaded Commonwealth and the Alberta capital. Largest crowd of the season in the CFL, upwards of 50,000 anticipated as Saskatchewan meets Edmonton. And more than a hint of autumn in the air. A high of 12 today. And we're expecting rain now. They're telling us it might hold off for the game.
Ricky Ray is on pace for 4,400 yards. Not a bad season, but he's also on pace for only 15 touchdown passes. Got to get the ball in the end zone. Darian Durant ranks third in yardage in quarterbacks in the CFL, but the two ahead of him have a game in hand in Anthony Calvillo and Kevin Glenn.
Ken Miller's Rough Riders beat Edmonton 24-20 in Week 3. They need another win here to try and stay within 2 points of division-leading Calgary. And there's Richie Hall, who has rebooted the season. Forget about the first 7. Yep. They're starting an 11-game season today. That breeze we talked about appears to be at the back of the Roughriders in this first quarter as Noel Prefontaine gets set to kick it off. Stu Ford, Dominic Dorsey are deep for Saskatchewan. Second of 4 meetings, and it will be Stu Ford. Up to the 35-yard line, 20 on the return. Darian Durant will lead the offense out. Starting lineups are brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right.
Durant completing 60% of his passes, and his favorite target has been this season Weston Dressler. 542 yards for Dressler, 3 touchdowns to go with that. An offensive line where Mark Parenteau up against Dario Romero on the inside of that defensive line for Edmonton. We'll watch that matchup.
And Durant goes to the air, and the first play is a completion to Weston Dressler, who did not have a catch 2 weeks ago in the win over BC, the Roughriders' last start.
So Dario Romero's in that front 7 for the Edmonton Eskimos, but a lot of the newspaper articles written this week were written about Maurice Lloyd, the middle linebacker. Some good, some not so good. More on that as this game goes on, and Chris Thompson in the secondary leads the CFL with 5 interceptions.
Gain of 8, 2nd and 2. And it's Wes Cates. He'll get the first down with big contact there as he runs over TJ Hill.
That's a statement. That's a statement. And early on in games, you want to try and set the tone physically, especially if you're at home. But in this case, it's the road team in Wes Cates as he lowers his pad level and just drives over TJ Hill. A little bit of a mismatch in weight. That's making a statement.
You telling me they're not at home?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's hard to tell.
Play action, the fake to Cates, and into the hands of Priche Rodriguez. Edged out by Jason Goss. Rodriguez 2 or 3 workouts during the bye time, along with his new quarterback, Darian Durant.
Good idea. Darian Durant, once again this year, of course, stayed in Regina throughout the bye week and self-evaluated, self-scouted, looked at ways he can improve his game. That's what good players and good coaches do. Darian Durant worked a little with Priche Rodriguez.
So it's a first down at the Edmonton 49-yard line. They take it to Cates. He breaks the tackle. Maurice Lloyd couldn't bring him down. And Darian Durant gets outside, and he'll get forced out by Rod Williams, but that should have been a loss. And Darian Durant makes something out of nothing.
Maurice Lloyd shoots the gap here, and he's in the backfield. He lines up right in the line of scrimmage and finds that gap in one-on-one. And this is how strong Darian Durant is. You have to show perfect form and fundamental tackling techniques when you step into number 4, because he's just so strong in that lower body and makes a lot out of nothing.
Durant 9 for 67 against BC. He's 9th in CFL rushing, first among the quarterbacks. And on 2nd and short, the Canuck truck, Chris Sarka, has the first down.
You mentioned Richie Hall trying to restart the season, and it's not a bad idea. The bye couldn't have come at a better time for the Edmonton Eskimos to try and regroup, because a game they played against the Calgary Stampeders, embarrassing in a couple of ways. First and foremost on the scoreboard, 56-15 the final there. He says, forget about the first part of the season. Let's look ahead.
Working against the defense that has given up the most points this year, and Saskatchewan's been moving the football. There's an incompletion intended again for Rodriguez.
Coaching changes in the bye week for the the Edmonton Eskimos. Mark Nelson added to the mix to help with the defense. Be named the linebackers coach, but he joins the squad along with Tim Prince.
Second and 10 from the 37. Durant with time over the middle, and that's intercepted. Maurice Lloyd comes up with it as Darian Durant has tossed his 10th pick of the season. CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Rona, doing it right. Mo Lloyd with his first interception of the year, a guy that, as you mentioned, is certainly in the spotlight, in focus today. Comes up with the first big defensive play. Matt Dunnigan asked the question, how healthy is Ricky Ray after the big hit last week? He's got Kelly Campbell at the 35-yard line, and that's close to 6.
Now let's take one more look at that interception by Maurice Lloyd. It looked like a bad decision by Darian Durant, but I think he saw Maurice Lloyd right here in the middle drop to this direction. His receiver was coming from that backside, so he just did not count Maurice Lloyd in the coverage. You see Lloyd drop to his right. Darian Durant doesn't think he's going to be part of this play, and he steps right in front of it.
So Durant has now thrown interceptions in 6 consecutive games. 2nd and 3. And that ball batted down. Knocked down by the middle linebacker, Baron Simpson. And it's a 2-and-out to start for the Eskimos.
Now there was talk about whether or not Ricky Ray would get the start in this game. Jared Zabransky took some first-team reps, as did Jason Moss. And they'll go a quick 2-and-out here in their first series. But it looked like Ray was okay on both throws. One just knocked down by Baron Simpson.
The Eskimos have started slow all season long. Outscored in the opening quarter 51-14. Prefontaine to kick it away. It'll be Dorsey. That is 32. And ducks across the 35 before he's hit by a wave of Eskimos. We're still scoreless at Commonwealth. Well, this Western rivalry stoked by some good humor from the Edmonton Eskimos with more. Jermaine Franklin.
Absolutely, Chris. For years, the Roughriders have been buying ad time on a billboard right outside Commonwealth Stadium, basically promoting the fact of Rider Nation and the fact that so many of them live in enemy territory. Well, the Eskimos decided to answer back this year with a billboard of their own, reminding Rider fans of the too many men on the field penalty that cost them the Grey Cup, as well as the 13 Grey Cup championships Edmonton has won as a franchise. Unfortunately, it's that same rich history that probably makes this 1-6 start so painful for the Eskimos.
Oh, yes, even the Roughriders tip their cap to the good sense of humor. There's Andy Fantouz with a catch.
I love it. You know, I love it. There's been those billboards outside that Saskatchewan fans have bought. One said, "We walk among you." You saw the one that said, "Hey, Esky fans, we'll save a section because there are so many Rider fans here this evening." Dave Jameson, the Director of Communications and Marketing, came up with the idea to have some fun and poke it back at Saskatchewan, and I love it. It sells more tickets. It's great fun.
And one of the best senses of humor in the whole league, Dave Jameson. Here's Darian Durant on 2nd down, trying to direct traffic, and now throws a ball that skips short of the intended target and almost intercepted by Chris Thompson, who leads the league in thefts with 5.
I always wonder, Chris, when a quarterback has thrown an interception, how he bounces back in the very next series, and is he willing to pull the trigger quickly? And it looked like early on in this play, Darian Durant was a little hesitant and then just had to scramble out of there, really run for his life, and almost had his second of the game.
Eddie Johnson in. And there's Kelly Campbell that lit it up.
Yeah.
In returns, over 300 return yards and a touchdown against the Stampeders on a punt return. And he is taken down quickly. James Patrick downfield in a hurry for Saskatchewan. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Nissan. Shift the way you move. Eskimos want to get the offense moving. 11 2-and-outs. 2 weeks ago against the Stampeders in Calgary. They open with a 2-and-out here. And take over at their own 30-yard line. Their second possession of the game. Takes to Whitlock. Picked off. James Patrick Gonna walk it in. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. Fourth interception of the year. This one he brings back 35 yards for an easy Rough Rider score.
Obviously a communication issue between Ricky Ray and I believe it was Kelly Campbell, the intended target, but he also had pressure in his face, and that's Brent Hawkins coming off the edge, maybe adjusted the throwing angle, but clearly his receivers weren't even looking at him.
If Patrick doesn't pick it off, Lance Fraser would.
Yeah, they were fighting for the ball, and both Saskatchewan defenders closer than any Edmonton receiver.
2 interceptions all of last year. Patrick's doubled that total already. Kanji adds the extra point. First blood for the Rough Riders here at Commonwealth. Flags down on the point after.
When you said that, I told Lance to do the same shit. 1, we in it. 2, we win. It ain't over yet, baby. It's a long-ass game.
Offside. Edmonton, number 99. The 5-yard penalty will be applied on the kickoff. Convert's good.
That's Ken Petway offside, and that's Bud Steen. We salute him as Bud officiates in his 500th game here today. Got 500 on the cap in this, his 30th year of service for the Canadian Football League.
And now he's loosened up because he chased James Patrick in the end zone on a nice interception and touchdown. You know, James Patrick was really just dropping out into his part of the football field. He was just trying to take that zone drop out into this area. And as he does that, one of the Edmonton receivers goes in on the cut instead of breaking out and curling down where he's supposed to. And it's goodbye. Saskatchewan Roughriders on the board with the first major. James Patrick. 4th interception on the season.
So another slow start for the Eskimos. 215 yards of offense 2 weeks ago in Calgary. They start 2-0 and a turnover for a touchdown. And the 5 yards on the kickoff here, and we get a full start. Not sure the play had been whistled in, or do we have too many
game? Saskatchewan, number 11. Penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
Well, they will get it back to the original spot to kick things off.
Johnson, and moves the kick point back to the 35-yard line.
Speaking of Bud Steen in the 500 games that he's officiated, you think there's anything he hasn't heard in his ear?
Penalty moves it to the 30.
Heard it all, seen it all.
Absolutely.
Eddie Johnson gets set to kick it off again. This time for real. Jamaica Rector under it at the 12. And Rector up and out at the 36-yard line. And let's see if this Eskimo offense can quit spinning its tires.
Well, communication error on that first interception of the game for Ricky Ray. And the one guy he hasn't really involved yet and should is Archie Whitlock, who's on pace for over 1,500 yards on the season, about 300 more than his rookie year. Looks like they short up that right tackle with Jeremy Parquet.
You mentioned Whitlock. You look at the ball here. Whitlock been the best part of this Edmonton Eskimo offense in the early going, 3rd in CFL rushing. Here's the defense he'll be working against today.
Front 7 that Brent Hawkins has already contributed to that interception off the edge. Former MVP of the 06 Hula Bowl at Illinois State, playing rush end for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Omar Morgan was a question mark coming in. He a bit of food poisoning and ended up being able to make it onto the lineup.
5 for Whitlock, 2nd and 5. Pressure off the edge and a catch from Kelly Campbell. He'll get tossed down by the safety, James Patrick, but it is the Eskimos' initial first down of the game.
And that's what you have to do if you're a receiver in this quick passing game. It has to be absolutely precise. Kelly Campbell, that interception by Ricky Ray, the receivers decided to do their own thing. When you're going 1-2-3 throw, your receivers have to be precise in their route running.
And as you can see, a little bit of a sun shower here. The sun's shining, but we do get a little rainfall here on a chilly Saturday afternoon in Edmonton.
Talked about Kelly Campbell's returns in the Calgary game. Punt return-wise, 6 for 162 yards. 40 catches on the season. And he's got that breakaway speed the Edmonton Eskimos are trying to utilize, trying to get him down the field, because touchdown passes is an issue for this football team. I mentioned off the top, Ricky Ray on pace for 15. That would be a career low.
Remember Kelly Campbell with the drop in the end zone in week 3 in Saskatchewan. Seems to have an issue with the chains there on the far side. That's why the delay. I think they've got them repaired now. And we'll get set to go. 6-2-2-2. Just when it felt like the Eskimos had something going, they get a delay, see if that affects them. A little fake to Whitlock, and the throw is incomplete. Intended in the flat for the fullback, Matt Bertrand.
Right now, the Eskimos early in this game are dealing with quick pressure. That time, it was Sean Lucas. We saw Brent Hawkins on the interception get in Ricky Ray's face. Ray's not taking the hits yet because he's getting rid of the football. But there's been a free man on the rush on almost every passing play for Ray so far.
2nd and 10. Talbot and Campbell in motion to this near side. 3-man rush. Ray stands in. Jason Barnes got a hand on it, but it falls incomplete. And Barnes looks for flags, but none are thrown.
Well, this time, Ricky Ray does get knocked down, and you mentioned it, Chris. There was only 3-man pressure. The Saskatchewan Roughriders decided here to show like they might be coming, and then on the snap of the ball, they only send 3. And by the time Ray goes to unload, he still gets hit around the waist, and again, it's Brent Hawkins, 3 on 5, and Ray had to take a hit.
There's Dominic Dorsey. Saskatchewan and Calgary, the only teams without a return touchdown this year. Low line drive kick. One hops to Dorsey. And he'll be brought down short of the 30-yard line, a 38-yard punt by Prefontaine. Wendy's kick for $1 million back. Your chance to be 1 of 4 to go head-to-head to qualify for the live halftime show. Enter at tsn.ca/Wendy's and upsize your Wendy's combo and get a game card to get bonus entries. Contest ending September 7th. Do not adjust your set. Sun shining and the rain just pouring down here at Commonwealth. Roughriders to work. Wes Keats, a little sidestep, and it's still going. Good run by Keats to the 36.
I mentioned off the top that Maurice Lloyd, a lot of articles written about him, talk radio all over it. The resignation of Dan Kepley, and it was public information that there was a possible rift between former linebacker for the Eskimos and Maurice Lloyd. And I think the bottom line in the entire story was that Maurice Lloyd was doing a lot of talking. He's not having a bad year, not by any stretch of the imagination.
2nd down, Keats straight ahead, and he has the first down. Well, when a legend like Dan Kepley leaves this football team, a Wall of Fame guy, it does raise eyebrows, and it certainly raised some questions.
Well, and Maurice Lloyd was very outspoken early on in this losing streak for the Edmonton Eskimos, and at times maybe wasn't walking it like he was talking. And I think the bottom line here, the message was, just go play ball.
First down into the hands of Rodriguez on the hitch, and he's forced out. Well, Richie Hall addressed the Mo Lloyd talk, and he really doesn't want Mo Lloyd talking.
Mo's had a solid year this year, okay? But there's other things in the development of our football team, and there's just been far too much talk verbally and not enough action. You know, so, you know, he's taken it upon himself. And I think the overall approach has been for the players is just shut up and play football, because, you know, you can talk a good game, but you got to play a good game.
Second and 3, Cates looking for a first down. Had to get beyond the 50. He's going to be close.
And to number 20, West Cates.
You look at his numbers, and they are very good. Maurice Lloyd has 39 tackles coming into this game, 4 sacks, 4 tackles for losses, and he adds an interception early on here against Saskatchewan. You know, the numbers indicate that he is having a solid season in the middle, but I think, you know, it all stems from the comments he made a couple of games back a few weeks ago when he talked about the Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz didn't go over well.
Some people needed to find heart and things like that. And I think that really...
3rd and inches, and you saw a good surge by that offensive line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, anchored by the center Jeremy O'Day and Chris Best, Mark Parento. Good push. First down.
You know, the bottom line is Maurice Lloyd's a good football player. And when he focuses on that, and it sounds like the coaching staff has addressed it when you just heard Richie Hall, that you'll see the best of Maurice Lloyd the rest of the way.
First down for the Roughriders, 3.5 minutes to go, first quarter. 6 receivers out for Darian Durant. And that ball high and out of the reach of Weston Dressler. Well, here's how Mo Lloyd responded to the week in focus.
One man don't play 24 positions. You know, I play defense, I play one position, that's middle linebacker. Is the reason we won in 6 all my fault? Not at all. Do I talk? Yes, I do. But, you know, I don't feel that one I'm a cancer or anyone in that locker room a cancer. I feel that we are brothers. We came in this together. We're going to go out this together.
2nd and 10, Durant down the sidelines. Great catch. Priche Rodriguez. That's why they call him big play, and that's a first down for Saskatchewan.
And Darian Durant allows Priche Rodriguez to use his strength, and that's his size and how tall he is, because he's going to end up getting flush from the pocket and have to roll out to his left. Tough throw to make. You see how he puts some air under it, and a real subtle little push on Jason Goss as Priche Rodriguez gives him a little push in the back just to get a little separation and keep that right foot in bounds.
25 yards for Rodriguez, and another Saskatchewan first down. Back into Rodriguez's hands, so Ken Miller's message a couple of weeks ago has been heard, and maybe the best move of the bye week was Rodriguez getting to know his quarterback a little better.
Yeah, he just wanted to, I think Ken Miller remind Darian Durant that he had a real talent out there at wide receiver, and he is standing at 6'4", matched up against most corners that are under 6 foot. In this case, Jason Goss at 5'11", and can take advantage of that in and itself. So throw it up to him, and he'll come down with it more than he won't.
Rookie of the Year runner-up to Weston Dressler 2 years ago when he was with Hamilton. 9th play of the drive. And here's Rob Bagg. Bagg with the first down and more. Dragged down at the 10-yard line by the safety Jason Nugent. Rob Bagg, who has more yak yards than any other Saskatchewan Roughrider receiver.
Quick passing game and nice play calling for Saskatchewan as they're starting to move the ball around a little bit now. as they go to Appreciate Rodriguez on the short side of the field with back-to-back plays, and then to mix things up and spread it out, little hitch screen to the wide receiver Rob Bagg, and he does the smart thing here. Why run into the middle of the field where all the defenders are? He takes that football quickly to the boundary.
20-yard pickup. Double tight end. Give Cates right side. West Cates touchdown.
This drive for Saskatchewan, changing it up with regards to formation. You can see the tight end formation here for the Roughriders. They get man on a man, big bodies all the way across the board, and no contact on Wes Cates until he's past that goal line.
Big block by Gene Mikowski, the 16-year vet at left tackle.
Unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan number 57. It's a dead ball foul after the touchdown's been scored. The penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
Mark Paronto gets called after the touchdown was scored.
Boy, some nice blocks on that touchdown. You mentioned Mikowski. Chris Best had a nice one also.
Conji the extra point. As Wes Cates scores on the ground for the 8th time this year, he also has one touchdown catch.
Let's take a look at the touchdown. You mentioned the Mikowski block, Chris. There was also a nice one by Chris Best. They're both going to come this direction like this and pull. One pulls and one comes up the field. Big number 66, Chris Best, is going to get the kick-out block, and he gets it right there on Jason Goss. Now that one opens up the gate, and here comes Big Mikowski around number 60. He cuts off T.J. Hill, and it's a free lane for Wes Cates to the end zone.
And although Paronto's name was called for the penalty, we believe it might be Gene Mikowski for that push on Nugent. The flag comes out right there, and clearly you don't give it to the 16-year vet. You give it to somebody else on the offensive line. And
let's snap you back on the end. On the Zorro? Yeah, on the Zorro. All right. Okay. We'll snap back on the Zorro. Hey, smarter than that.
And Gene Mikowski looked like he took exception to the fact that Nugent hit Cates already in the end zone.
Penalty meant that the kickoff came on the 20. Good field position, and Kelly Campbell will enhance that with a return close to the 50-yard line. They'll mark him out at the Eskimo 49, but here we are. 82 seconds left the first quarter, and already the Eskimos need to stay in touch here.
Yeah, this drive becomes very, very important for them to come away with something. I mean, you don't necessarily need to match the major here, but a field goal attempt almost mandatory, you'd think, or this one slips away quickly.
Ricky Ray, one of only 3 quarterbacks so far to throw for over 300 against this Rough Rider defense, along with Calvillo and Glenn. Into the hands of Whitlock, and nothing doing. Keith Shulligan at the bottom of the pile, the Spruce Grove area product.
And it was Barron Simpson as well, Chris, who, while Shulligan was fighting through the offensive line, Barron Simpson was allowed to scrape around to the tackle just beside the goal post there. So you see Shulligan doing all the heavy lifting in the middle. He's taking on the double team to allow his linebacker to move to the play.
1 yard, 2nd and 9. 3-man pressure. Freeman off the edge. Ray steps up, but Barron Simpson explodes on him. The Minister of Defense unloading on Ricky Ray.
Well, when you have 3-man pressure, Ray is trying to wait for these plays to develop because he's feeling in the pocket. He has to be that he's got more time. I mean, Ricky Ray here, at 3-man pressure, your quarterback should have lots of steamboats.
Remember, Freeman had 3 sacks in the last game against the Lions. The Prefontaine punt bouncing down to the 15. No yards will be the call as Dorsey is brought down on the final play of the opening quarter. The Rough Rider defense with a touchdown. And the Saskatchewan offense with a touchdown.
No yards. Edmonton, number 92. Penalty was declined. The gain was gravy. It's first down, Saskatchewan.
So Larry Burdine is called. First quarter in the books here at Commonwealth. 14-0 Rough Riders. First quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
The Edmonton Eskimos with 1 first down. They've had 4 offensive series. 2 of those series have been 2 and outs. 1 was an interception for a touchdown. The Edmonton Eskimos are struggling on offense.
So what you're saying is fresh start, new season, 11 games, but it looks like same old right now.
It really does, and I'm shocked here that the Edmonton Eskimos don't use their number 1 weapon offensively, and that's Archie Whitlock. I mean, you've got to start to hand him the ball, try and ground out some first downs and stay on the football field, because 2 and outs in 4 series and 1 interception for a touchdown, that's not going to cut it. This is going to get out of hand in a hurry.
Of course, the Eskimos' most dangerous weapon in the first meeting was Fred Stamps, who's not available today. Stamps with 213 yards and 12 catches at Mosaic in week 3. Fake to Cates, out in the flat, a catch for Chris Getzlaff. Dragged down by Chris Thompson, but Getzlaff gives the Rough Riders better field position up at the Saskatchewan 40.
Just the play calling as well. Darian Durant checking his wristband there to be able to change it up, move the football around. Appreciate Rodriguez, a couple of catches last drive. Rob Bagg with a nice play. Wes Cates finishes it off. They start here with Getzlaff. So Doug Barry really mixing up the play calling nicely early on here.
Been an emphasis of late to spread it around more, and now Cates out of the backfield with a catch. And Wes Cates up to the 47, 48. Good first down production.
The only guy who's not been involved just yet, but I'm sure will be soon, is number 7, Weston Dressler. And Dressler sort of this season has been kind of an all-or-nothing guy. He either has monster games like the first one in Montreal at 9 for 154, and then he goes over a couple of games, a couple of weeks with just 2 or 3 catches, and then comes back with another biggie against Calgary, 9 for 125. So it's kind of been an all-or-nothing thing for Dressler.
Second and a couple, and Cates has got that. And he'll be brought down by Petway.
But the good news for this Rider football team is that if Dressler isn't the guy, they've got other targets. You look at the top Canadian receivers, and you see Andy Fantus, Rob Bagg, Chris Getzlaff in that group in the Canadian Football League. All 3, of course, members of the Riders. So lots of weapons for Darian Durant.
Moving the football again near midfield, back in the hands of Cates, and Wes Cates is taken down by a former teammate, Maurice Lloyd, out across midfield and into Edmonton territory.
This is part of what we talked about with Doug Barry here. That's Chris Zarka right there, and that is Jason Claremont, who steps in, and he becomes a tight end. So not only do they spread the football around to different people, but they're showing you a lot of different looks, a lot of different offensive sets. So there's a little double tight end set, then they go back to the regular 5 linemen here.
Working against a defense that ranks last against the run. They're still first against the pass. And Durant throws, and off the fingertips of both Rodriguez, and then on the ricochet, Fantus incomplete. And the Rough Rider drive will stall.
That they were that close together means one of them ran the wrong route, and they're discussing that as they go to the sideline. Appreciate Rodriguez looked a little bit like the guilty party, but I'm not sure. They were both standing about 1.5 yards apart, about where they are now. Saying, okay, you zig, I zag, I got it.
The rains pass through. A slight breeze should be at the back of the Eskimos in this second quarter. Johnson pressure, and they blocked it, and it's picked up. Jason Barnes, foot race, he should win it. No, Stu Ford, touchdown, saving tackle. Nevertheless, the Eskimos have their biggest play of the game, a punt block.
Here to award your prizes
Blocking issue for the Saskatchewan Roughriders on this punt. That's Mike McCullough who's going to step this way. Now, it's not necessarily his mistake, but the count is off because Sharoon's coming right through clean. Corbin Sharoon right there is into the backfield so quickly, he almost tackles Eddie Johnson. And then Barnes off to the races, and a touchdown-saving tackle. We'll see if that effort pays off for Saskatchewan. They can hold Edmonton here to a field goal.
There's the kid out of Leduc, Alberta, and St. Francis Xavier, also a former Edmonton Wildcat, with his biggest play of his young CFL career. Reserve safety. Now let's see if they can cash in with Jason Zabransky, the shovel. Whitlock, touchdown!
They needed a spark. They got it on the special teams from Corbin Sharoon, and in one quick play, they capitalized. And after this one, Chris, I already hear the quarterback controversy beginning in Edmonton.
Jared Zabransky in. And we see him shuttled in and out against Calgary, so you're not sure if that was a one-series deal, a one-play deal, or is he in because Ricky Ray has been ineffective or shaken up? All we know is the Eskimos are back in it. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, you wonder about that quarterbacking change. My guess there would be, Chris, that they put him in for the play, that Jared Zabransky is such a run threat. On a play like that, it opens up R.Q. Whitlock for the touchdown. Ricky Ray, not so much. He's a pocket passer. And you know one thing, Jared Zabransky this week took more reps with the first team. He's got to feel more comfortable because of that.
His second touchdown pass in as many games. First touchdown catch of the year for R.Q. Whitlock, and it's now a 7-point lead, and that kickoff will bounce out along the side.
Well,
in the end zone.
On the end zone, and the touchdown for R.Q. Whitlock. Luke Mullender can't be right here. There's Mullender there, and because Jared Zabransky is such a run threat, he has to respect him, and that opens up R.Q. Whitlock underneath. So with Jared Zabransky pressing the corner so hard, number 95, Luke Mullender, has to go there and respect him. He's got to cut him off. If he doesn't, Zabransky gets the corner. Then he opens up the lane underneath him to R.Q. Whitlock, and he makes one man miss.
After that kickoff, the ball spotted at the 25. Here's Dressler on the end around, trying to get to the corner and turn it. Rod Davis a hand on him, but Dressler up close to a first down near the 35-yard line.
One of the issues for this defense, or for this football team throughout the streak for Edmonton, has been their front seven. And right now they have an opportunity. They've got to play on the special teams. They've grabbed some momentum with a Whitlock touchdown. Now Richie Hall needs his defense to dig in here and try and, possibly not on this set in 2nd and 1, but try and get Darian Durant off the field.
5 of 7 games, they've surrendered 150 yards or more on the ground, and Durant searches for a first down across the 35. The run defense has struggled mightily for Edmonton so far this year.
Boy.
Mightily for Edmonton so far this year.
Boy, have they ever. I mean, it's last in the league against the run. One of the reasons for that is Dario Romero has been out of the lineup for a lot of the games, so that's a big one. I mean, Saskatchewan Roughriders 234. When you're giving up 163 along the ground per game, you're not going to win many.
Now they give it to Dressler. Now he'll turn back. Had a little gadget play, but nothing was there. And was Darian Durant the intended receiver? And
I believe Kai Ellis, he recognized this play and sniffed it out. He was slow playing the backside. And I think you're right, Chris. I think this was designed to have Dressler take it here on the exchange and have Darian Durant go the opposite direction and throw it right back to the quarterback. That defensive end kind of got out there wide, took away that target.
Like a good quarterback, Dressler just throws it away to not make a mistake, and then does what he does best with a nice catch over the middle for the first down up near midfield.
It's almost like they went back to the huddle and said, hey, you know what? Why don't you do what you do, and I'll do what I do best, and let's go and try that, because this is exactly what happened. Andy Fantus with a corner. He kind of opens up some space for Dressler. Not a lot of space, but Darian Durant threads the needle to slip it in there.
Yeah, that's a small window for Darian Durant. He did thread the needle past 2 Eskimo defenders. 17 for Dressler. First down, Saskatchewan. And now they'll screen it. Cates drops the ball with blocking out in front. He had big Chris Best in front of him, but he couldn't squeeze the pigskin.
Second down.
Just a little out of his reach because he had the corner. Good 20-yard gain for sure for Wes Cates. On pace for his best season rushing.
Now it's 2nd and 10. Roughriders number 2 in second down conversions in the league at 52.1%. See what they do here. They've got Rob Bag, and looks like they've got another second down conversion. Spot is close to the first down. You see Jared Zabransky there surveying it, and it's very close. They might have to measure, and it looks like it may be a few chain lengths short.
I'm going to show you the key block on the play. Even if it is short, I'm sure the Saskatchewan Roughriders will go for it. Only reason that play works is because on the backside, Chris Getzlaff steps in, recognizes the pressure coming from Javier Glatt, and cuts it off. If he doesn't do that, Darian Durant gets hit in the back, no first down, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are punting. Every man has to do his responsibility.
So Rob Bag with another second down conversion. Darian Durant unloading deep. Weston Dressler can't bring it in. Laid out for that.
Darian Durant looking.
We talked about what Richie Hall needed from his defense. Well, he's got one down basically to get it, because one more first down here on this second down and long attempt by Saskatchewan, and they're in field goal range. So Richie Hall had a chance with momentum and the touchdown from Whitlock, and he's watching Darian Durant drive the ball. Now he's got one down right here to see if his defense can dig in.
Roughriders have converted on the last 2 second and longs of this series. 2nd and 10, Rodriguez the catch. No, they're ruling he didn't get a foot down. Rodriguez argues the call. There is a flag at the far side of the field.
There is a flag on the play.
Catch would have been short of a first down, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway, as it's like it's offside against Saskatchewan.
Offside, Saskatchewan number 83. That penalty is declined. It's 3rd down.
Jason Claremont. Actually, it could have impacted the play if he did make the catch. They would have been in field goal range, or the Eskimos might have taken that penalty. Instead, it's 3rd down at the Edmonton 47, and Eddie Johnson and the punt team come on.
And the last one was blocked, so we'll see if Saskatchewan has discussed that on the sideline. But it looks like right now the Edmonton Eskimos looking for a return rather than a punt block.
Jason Goss joining Campbell deep.
And likely playing what's called punt safe and looking for the fake.
Campbell. Awkwardly securing that football in front of Gene Patrick. 32-yard punt.
They'll spot it just.
It's Purelator Tackle Hunger Day here in Edmonton. The goal was to collect 80,000 pounds of food, and the sack tally is brought to you by Purelator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
First place, Calgary Stampeders after last night's game versus the BC Lions.
Eskimos start at the 15. It remains Jared Zabransky at quarterback. And here's the end around to Kelly Campbell. Saw Dressler run it for the Roughriders, and Now Kelly Campbell gets it in his hands.
Kelly Campbell, Baron Simpson, number 2, makes the tackle. Campbell gets the ball up to the 20.
Got the reps, and he's getting some reps in game. Here comes Kelly Campbell this way, and let me show you a nice lead block here by R.Q. Whitlock, trying to contribute even when he doesn't have the football. There's the underneath handoff. Watch 36 come out, and right there, nice block. I think it was Daniel Francis. As he turns to the outside, give his receiver a couple more yards.
Campbell in the top 10 in receiving and in all-purpose yards. Now number 5, even though he's only returned for a couple games now. Zabransky fumbles. Jason Barnes pounces on the loose football, and it is an Eskimo first down. A little more interesting than they would have liked.
Yeah, no question. And Jason Barnes was really on this, figuring this was just a cloud of dust and a couple of yards, and kind of was taking the play off, and then saw that ball on the ground and was quick to jump on it.
Rain falling again here at Commonwealth. 6 minutes remaining, first half. First down, Edmonton. No, it is Whitlock. And Whitlock off the left side up to the 32.
You know, and believe me, Ricky Ray, who's on pace for 4,500 yards this year, has not been the issue in Edmonton. Jared Zabransky, and I'm not trying to create a quarterback controversy in the city, but Jared Zabransky's running ability should help R.Q. Whitlock even more in this offense, running plays like they just ran on that last one.
6 for Whitlock. 2nd and 4. Nowacki in motion to the near side. Some confusion, and Zabransky calls a timeout. Didn't look like everybody was on the same page.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure they got the right personnel. Let me just go back to that last play that Jared Zabransky just ran to R.Q. Whitlock and just basically explain what I'm trying to get at is that when he is such a run threat, he goes in one direction and he goes in the opposite direction. You've got to respect both. So now you could see Luke Mulliner, 95, and Baron Simpson. They were frozen there for a split second. Sometimes that split second is the difference between a big play, 30 yards, 40 yards, and a play that gets a couple. So Kevin Strasser now can use Jared Zabransky in a different way than he uses Ricky Ray.
After the timeout, they're ready to go. 2nd and 4, and it's quarterback draw. Zabransky has the first down. Brought down by Mike McCullum.
Jared Zabransky keeps to himself and runs upfield for Eskimo.
And then there's this.
Yeah,
quarterback draw. And that's, again, another weapon. And how many times has Darian Durant gutted a defense by doing just that? When the defense feels that they've got you covered and he takes off and runs, well, Jared Zabransky's capable as well.
We will see Ray occasionally do that, but probably more suited to Zabransky's skill set. First down, Edmonton. Couldn't find anybody. Shakes off Luke Mulliner, and he's got an open field. Whitlock in front of him, and he'll duck down at the 54-yard line. Back-to-back first downs on the legs of Jared Zabransky.
Like he was caught in the backfield.
That was Shamari Williams who had a shot at him.
First-round draft pick. And Whitlock's trying to find someone to block and runs into his own man.
Yeah, that looked like there was more yardage available. Nevertheless, a 16-yard run. R.Q. Whitlock now cuts it back. Those quick feet, another first down to the 44, and the Edmonton fans are making noise here at Commonwealth now.
Well, he can make you miss in a small area. I mean, R.Q. Whitlock, when I asked him a couple of weeks ago about what he's reading and what he sees and is it flow, he said, to be honest, I'm not really sure how I do it. It's just automatic. Maybe the quickest feet in the running back position in the Canadian Football League.
11 for Whitlock. Another Eskimo first down. 3 receivers to this near side, and the ball in the flat. Incomplete. Rector, the intended receiver, unable to pull it off his shoe tops.
Definitely a spark for the Edmonton offense. So, and Jared Zabransky making Shamari Williams miss and run out of there for a key first down. As you could just see the entire bench sort of different demeanor for the Edmonton Eskimos from top to bottom here.
Been a different team in the second quarter after struggling badly in the opening 15 minutes. For Kelly Campbell, and Lance Fraser with the tackle short of the first down. The 3-minute warning given to the benches here in the first half. Well, today, Scotiabank, show your colors, salutes the Cook family. Season ticket holders in Section G, right on the 55-yard line for the last 18 years. Daniel and Charlene, who dyes her hair green and gold for the games.
Yeah, and I love Tyler. Tyler confessed to us that he cheers for everybody that Mom doesn't cheer for. So Mom wants the Eskimos. He's taking the Riders.
Yeah, he's got the Riders today. Third down. A gamble. Zabransky high steps in for a first down. And the fans are loving this. This is an interesting development here at Commonwealth. The Eskimo fans showing their pleasure in how Jared Zabransky's kick started the offense.
Well, you can't avoid it now, Chris. I mean, this drive alone will create enough talk, and you could just say it. There is going to be a quarterback controversy. Ricky Ray apparently is healthy on the sideline. And now he wasn't fully healthy all week long, but he wasn't out because of a new injury.
4 runs, 28 yards for Zabransky. Draw play, Whitlock. And another big gain. R.P. Whitlock's inside the 20. Tossed out by Chris McKenzie. 14 for Whitlock.
Well, when you have an athletic quarterback, the defense has to hesitate. You see Baron Simpson in there just frozen. It was almost like both feet were in cement, and they had to be because Zabransky went one way, Whitlock the other.
So the 11th play of the drive for the Eskimos. First down at the Roughrider 18. Bootleg Zabransky into the end zone. Kelly Campbell. No, it's picked off. James Patrick, second of the game. His second 2-interception game of the year.
Well, you know what? He got a little greedy. Jared Zabransky had probably 15, 20 yards to run on that bootleg. He gets out and around the corner. Take nothing away from the tremendous hustle from James Patrick, who's going to go in that role. But look at the room that Zabransky had to run. Now, that's a tough throw to try and get it up and over the safety. Kelly Campbell on the corner route right here. He's got pretty good coverage there. You could see James Patrick in the sight lines of Jared Zabransky the entire way. He got a little greedy down the end zone. He could have run for 10, 15 yards. That's inexperience.
Patrick just tied Chris Thompson for the league lead in interceptions with number 5. And now Durant almost gave one back to the man Patrick's tied with, Chris Thompson, in the neighborhood, but it falls incomplete.
It looked like Darian Durant was trying to throw that out of bounds. It just didn't get enough on it. Made it a close play.
Thought maybe we were going to reenact the final 3 minutes of the first half from last night when there were 3 turnovers in rapid fire, a couple of consecutive interceptions thrown by Henry Burris. 2nd and 10. At the Roughrider 25. Over the middle, Dressler, the catch. Crunch there. At the 35, he's got a first down. And he did take some punishment.
He took some punishment, hit from both sides. I believe it was Maurice Lloyd on one and Javi Glad on the other. But Darian Durant's going to help him absorb that punishment by throwing it right in the belly. I mean, he gets that ball nice and low so that Dressler can catch it, and as he's catching it, can brace himself and try and absorb that contact from Maurice Lloyd. That's your quarterback. We've seen sometimes quarterbacks lay their receivers out where they have to stretch out and expose their ribs in the middle like that. Well, not for Darian Durant there. He put it low and in the stomach. Dressler's okay because of it.
Rough Riders have been good converting on 2nd and long today. There's another. Gives them a fresh set of downs and into the hands of Cakes. Straight ahead for 2, maybe 3. Dario Romero in that pile.
4 starts for Dario Romero, and you know, this could be a much better front 7 if he could have been there for all of the games. I mean, he is the leader in there. He's not going to get a lot of stats. You're not going to see him in the sack lead or even in the tackle lead. But when he gets a good push, it can disrupt a lot of plays.
Heart and soul guy, the defensive captain. 2nd and 7. Durant in trouble, fumbles the football, and there's Dario Romero. High stepping down inside the 10.
And it's Dario Romero that starts the play, and it's Dario Romero that comes up with the fumble recovery, because I talked about his penetration, and when you're in the middle, you may not get the stat, you may not get a sack, but watch the penetration by Dario Romero as he comes up on Chris Best. Now he's right in the face of Darian Durant. That's why Durant turns away, and when he does, he's hit. The ball bounces out, and how about that stiff arm?
Kai Ellis, the forced fumble. Romero picks it up, and just like that, the Eskimos within 7 yards of tying this game. Whitlock down to the 1.
Jared Zabransky handing off to 36 RP.
You're right, he's played 4 games, but he has not been 100%. And he makes a huge difference in the middle of that Eskimo front 7.
He was 3-4 yards in the backfield, disrupting the play, and really causing the problems for Durant.
2nd and goal from the 1. Whitlock again. Oh, push back. R.K. Whitlock ran into a wall.
Yeah.
The Hawk closed it down in a hurry.
Come on, Brent Hawkins. That is athletic. That is sheer power. As he is just going to step in and just take on that slide cut protection. Good hands, kept his balance. Tremendous penetration. He is in the backfield, and he had to fight through Patrick Kabongo.
Richie Hall leaves him on the field. They got a great spot. 3rd and goal from the 2. Zabransky rolling, throwing, incomplete. Turnover on downs. They come up empty. And the Rough Riders still lead.
Well, you can thank, first of all, Brent Hawkins for that, because the play call changes when he gets that big play on the previous down. So he pushes the ball back to the 2-yard line instead of the 1. Now Zabransky wants the hot. He can't find Kelly Campbell there. Now he's in trouble, and guess who forces him again? Brent Hawkins.
But the armchair quarterbacks or play callers might be saying you've made great points about Zabransky's mobility and how he's given the defense fits.
Right,
and yet he really wasn't utilized in that entire goal line package. Flag down on the play.
Riderville, baby.
And Brent Hawkins has started to make an impact with each game here in the CFL. Getting better and better as he adapts.
And we beat them on there. They can't roll on us like that. We were.
Well, and I agree with you on the Jared Zabransky and the play calling, and you can go quarterback sneak on 1st down, but R.Q. Whitlock has been your weapon.
Too many men, Saskatchewan. The penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Well, that penalty always gets a reaction, doesn't it? And a reminder that Dave Randorf's in demand here. And we'll have live at the half with Dave, Matt, Milt, and Schultze. And I'm sure they'll have a lot to say about this Jared Zabransky impact on the game.
Oh, it's on. I mean, it's on. I mean, even though you saw the interception mistake by Zabransky down in the goal area, they didn't get in here. That one drive alone means this entire city is going to be talking about these quarterbacks.
Well, Zabransky certainly has ignited things here. He has thrown an interception in the end zone and another opportunity to score. They come up empty on the goal line, and the clock runs out on what was an interesting first half. Jared Zabransky at the controls, the Roughriders with a 7-point lead.
Live at the half is brought to you by the next generation GMC Sierra Heavy Duty. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job.
Check out this play from the first half of football. A block punt by 21-year-old Corbin Sharoon Schultze. He's an Edmonton native who makes a big play in a season that is lacking good stories for the Eskimos. How about this kid? He was supposed to work out for the Calgary Stampeders back in May. Couldn't get there because of a snowstorm. The Eskimos draft him in the 6th round, and he's made the play that eventually got his team on the board. A good little story for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Like California.
in a very interesting first half of football. Dave and Milton, Matt and Chris, and at the risk of upsetting all of Rider Nation, we're going to talk about the Eskimos here. I know your team has the lead, but it's very interesting what's going on with the Edmonton Eskimos, who are showing a lot of fight, but it all revolves around their quarterback position right now. First of all, should they have even dressed Ricky Ray?
Well, you know, I said off the top of the show, you know, if you're not healthy enough to play, don't even dress, because you're going to give your coach a temptation to play you, because you do give your team the best chance, because you have won a couple Grey Cups. You're your most outstanding player. But I can tell you, Ricky Ray is not playing like he's a healthy quarterback. And here, this is miscommunication. This is good preparation by Saskatchewan. And then it bodes the question when Ray goes to the sidelines with Zabransky. We watch this team light up. I mean, this team actually lit up. They actually got an extra bounce in their step because the kid has provided a spark with his legs, which opens up a whole new can of worms for the Edmonton Eskimo offense. And that's a running game that was neglected in the first quarter.
What do you think, Schultze? This is our first extended look at Zabransky. Looks like we're going to see him the rest of the night.
Well, this is what I think right now. The Saskatchewan Roughriders in the locker room, and they are on the grease board, the chalkboard, and they are going over the different types of defenses they are going to start to run, because all of a sudden you have a better athlete at the quarterback position. And when you have a better athlete at the quarterback position, that means you can do more things. There's no doubt that Jared Zabransky is for real, and he will compete with Ricky Ray for the starting position at quarterback because of what we have seen in this small increment of time. But still, it's a small increment of time. Give the Riders their due for coming up with something in the locker room to compete with Jared Zabransky and that mobility.
Well, I think the reason he had some success was this defense came into the game preparing for Ricky Ray. Zabransky is a quarterback that can run. Ricky Ray, he's not going to run anywhere. And he had the opportunity to run. He took full advantage of it. I think we're going to see a different defense this second half. They're preparing for a quarterback that can run. So I think he has to use his arm if he want to have some success this second half. Also, Archie Whitlock will have to be big. You see right here, an interception. The good and the bad with Zabransky. That's what you're going to get. But this next game that's coming up, I want to see what happens. Will they start him again? This second half is going to determine that, and we'll see what happens.
Well, this is when you have good football coaches. This is when your football coach takes over the room and he says, guys, this is what we're going to do. We are no longer going to sacrifice the perimeter. We are going to make sure we can keep this guy in the pocket. So look for the different style of defense from the Riders to affect a better athlete.
Matty, did you like the fact that he went for it on 3rd and goal there? Richie Hall?
Yeah, I just didn't like the play call. Get him on the edge.
Well, 1 and 6, you got to go for it, right?
Oh, for sure.
And they're down by 7, thanks in large part to that interception. James Patrick, one of his 2 tonight, taking it back to the house. Halftime numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons. Go, Matty.
Yeah, an inept Edmonton offense. Look at this, only 32 yards passing. The only reason why they're in football games because the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 3 turnovers, uncharacteristic of that football team.
Jermaine Franklin spoke with Rider head coach Ken Miller.
Coach Miller, can you talk about the significance of that defensive stand before the end of the half?
Well, it was absolutely tremendous to be able to get that stop there and then be able to run out the clock with that precarious field position. Great job by our defense.
What are some of the challenges Jared Zabransky presents now as the quarterback for the Eskimos?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
What are some of the challenges Jared Zabransky presents now as the quarterback as the Eskimos?
Well, he's a very mobile quarterback, and he's been able to break contain. He throws the ball well, but his ability to move around and make plays is his biggest asset.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
14-7 at the half. Brent Wallace is here with a SportsCenter update. So far, all SportsCenter hosts are perfect catching the football. Milt, lay a nice one in there for Brent. Let's see if he can keep it going.
Go well.
Oh, he got it.
My
nice.
day is complete, everybody. All right, a little baseball action for you. Jose Bautista continuing to swing the hot bat for the Toronto Blue Jays. At it again today. Jays and Tigers, bottom of the first. Bautista drives in runs number 98 and 99 of the season with a 2-run triple. Jays up 1 in the bottom of the ninth. Kevin Gregg strikes out Ramon Santiago, picks up his 30th save. Jays win 5-4. Canada facing Lebanon at the FIBA World Basketball Championships. Fadid El-Khadib comes up with the steal, gets the hoop, and gets Lebanon within 1, then forces up the bad shot. But Jackson Roman is there for the easy reverse. Lebanon wins by 10, 81-71. SportsCenter comes your way following the Riders and Eskimos. Dutchy and Jen and Brighton for Kraft. Lots of highlights. SportsCenter after the game. Back to Edmonton right after this.
Heading to the second half at Commonwealth, an interesting game developing. And with more, let's join Jermaine Franklin and Eskimo coach Richie Hall.
Coach Hall, can you talk about Jared Zabransky, and will he be starting in the third quarter?
Well, he did a good job for us in the first quarter. You know, made some mistakes, some poor decisions, but he's going to bounce back and go with the hot hand. He's causing some problems, you know.
What are those problems that he's causing? What are the strengths that he's bringing to the game?
The thing that he does, he's an athlete back there. He's a little different than the other two quarterbacks that we have, and he's been able to use his legs and make some plays.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Well, two things there. One, that he's right. Jared Zabransky and his running ability not only causes the defense some more problems in itself, but it also opens things up for Archie Whitlock that much more in the running game. But the other thing I noticed in that interview is that Richie Hall's losing his voice. He's probably had a long week.
He's not the only one.
A long week of explanations, X's and O's, inspirational speeches, anything he can do to light a fire under his football team. And maybe Jared Zabransky's the guy that's going to do that.
And one thing we're told about Jared Zabransky, he's not short of confidence. He's been waiting for this opportunity. And can he help snap an Eskimo losing streak? Let's find out how it all unfolds. Second half, Stu Ford. And Ford up to the 40-yard line. As the guys on the panel mentioned, uncharacteristic turnovers by this Rough Rider offense. In the first half with 3, they were second in giveaways going into the game with only 13.
You know, Darian Durant's numbers are dropping a little, and they have over the last couple of weeks. I mean, his last game versus the BC Lions was a season low 223 passing through 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Clearly he is a star and will be for years to come. He's shown us that. But his numbers are wavering a little bit here. The wheel's starting to wobble a little bit over the last few weeks for him.
Eskimos start with pressure, and that pass does get to the intended target. Chris Getzlaff with the catch. That was a dangerous pass in the flat, but Getzlaff makes the catch and moves the chains.
Yeah, Rod Davis, as Getzlaff is just going to curl. Rod Davis, number 40, shoots the gap, and we are talking inches. Good concentration from Getzlaff. Often receivers are distracted when that happens, but he hung on to that football.
14 for Getzlaff. Up at the 53 for Saskatchewan, into the hands of Wes Cates, and he won't reach midfield.
One thing about this Edmonton defense, sorry Chris, is that they have been good against the pass.
A little set 2 here, excuse me, but a little dust up going on. 5 yards beyond the football.
No flags, though.
But it's been their secondary that's been the strength, and they've had to move people around a little bit. But when Lawrence Gordon moves from corner to halfback, and they've gone with a couple of different safeties. Jason Goss been on and off, but they rank #1 coming into this game versus the pass.
Hadn't given up a 300-yard passing game until 2 weeks ago when Henry Burris got to them. Here's Durant. Getzlaff can't bring it in. This time they don't convert on second down.
Getzlaff once again. Chris Thompson,
Well, just a little out of the reach of Getzlaff here, and he's going to, Chris Thompson, little jam, and then he's just going to run with him on that curl. You know, and when you talk about the secondary for the Eskimos and ranked #1 against the pass, their front four ranks way down in the sack department at 7th.
Off the side of the foot of Eddie Johnson, but a good bounce. Kelly Campbell fields at the 15, and he'll get swamped at the 20-yard line. A 40-yard punt by Eddie Johnson. CFL and TSN continues next Friday with Scotiabank Labor Day weekend as the BC Lions take on the Alouettes. Anthony Calvillo not going to get the start in that game. Weekend of CFL football kicks off Friday beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Big weekend of CFL action.
Yeah, that's a big one, I would say. Labor Day weekend.
Eskimos start at their 20. Hand it off to Whitlock. And the Roughriders waiting for him after a couple.
Jared Zabransky opens up the second half and hand
We all talked about the strengths of Jared Zabransky. So did Ken Miller for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and his ability to run and stretch the defense out, cause them to freeze and hesitate in which direction they're going to go. But sooner or later, Jared Zabransky is going to have to drop back and throw the football too. This is the CFL.
Passing situation in all likelihood here, 2nd and 8. And in the flat, it's incomplete, delivered low for Kelly Campbell.
Looking for 71, Kelly Campbell.
Laron Mitchell in the neighborhood defensively. And a 2-and-out.
A couple of low throws there, and that's a tough one to make. Yeah, that was a wide field out right by the hash mark and a little bit low. I've seen a couple from Zabransky there. In that second quarter, a couple of throws like that as well. Should be very good field position here for the Riders.
Dorsey awaits just beyond the Saskatchewan 45. Line drive kick, and Dorsey's across midfield, and there's Rector to meet him right there at the center field stripe. A 40-yard kick into the wind. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN, brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Early third quarter, 14-7 for the visiting Saskatchewan Roughriders, who've won 2 of their last 3 at Commonwealth, but overall 9 wins, 34 losses here in Edmonton. Well, a mix up there. Yeah, Ellis unloads on Durant, who reels back in the loose football.
Timing was off, and Wes Cates got there too fast at the junction point. Wes Cates is going to either line up wrong because he's directly behind Durant here, but he comes past the junction point too quickly. So Durant gets the shotgun snap, turns around, no play fake now. So Kai Ellis now says, well, I don't have to worry about that because it's declared so early. He's coming off the edge. Darian Durant's got his back to him, and this play is over.
2 sacks for Ellis in the game, 3 on the year. And a loss of 9, 2nd and 19. Durant dancing over the middle, and it's intercepted. Jason Goss as Rodriguez slowed it up and looks like he put it in the breadbasket of number 4.
No one covered, coverage like a blanket for the Edmonton Eskimos initially on the play. Appreciate Rodriguez, the wide receiver, works his way back, but it's a broken play after the first few seconds. So there's the route. Now the route's over, and they're just trying to find an open area. And maybe just a little too relaxed for Appreciate Rodriguez there.
Goss with his second interception of the year, number 4, with the 4th takeaway by the Eskimos in the game. Here's Bertrand, the fullback. And he's dragged down by Chris McKenzie, Daniel Francis there.
Nice little play here with Matthew Bertrand coming out of the backfield. Little play action. Jared Zabransky, play action to Whitlock. He's got the fullback in the flat, just has to drop it into him. Nice 10-yard pickup and more.
7 turnovers in the game. Each team has 7 points off the giveaways. First down, Eskimos. Short drop in the flat. It's a catch for Campbell. And he ducks out at the 34-yard line. Pick up a 5 to 6, 5 yards for Kelly Campbell.
The biggest stat in football is often that giveaway takeaway, and the plus minus. And Matt Dunnigan talked about turnovers for Saskatchewan at halftime. And the Edmonton Eskimos have had some opportunities. Dario Romero's fumble recovery, and they didn't get in. They've got another opportunity on an interception here. Sooner or later, they've got to capitalize and grab momentum.
2nd and 5. Zabransky looking for Barnes, and it's intercepted. Intercepted, the hat trick Patrick, and a late hit by Patrick Kabongo. James Patrick's got 3. Ties the league lead. Find out how you can create your own plays at NissanArmchairHero.com.
There's James Patrick, who gets his 3rd interception in what's called cover 2 man. Here's the snap, and let me show you what it means. Man-to-man here, man-to-man underneath, and 2 guys deep to help out over the top. A throw that Jared Zabransky should never have made. You've got a man underneath in coverage. You've got a safety over the top helping on any deep throws. That's where you dump it down underneath. Another mistake by Zabransky. James Patrick leads the league.
He's had so many, I short change him. I lost count. He's the league leader. He's got 6 now on the season. Doubling his total. Wes Cates up to the 30. So Zabransky's thrown an interception in the end zone and now one inside the 10-yard line. And James Patrick's got both of them.
Well, he certainly, if you were picking all-star teams right now, he's coming out of the West without question. Maybe it's the CFL All-Star at this point.
I'll tell you that.
But again, decisions.
2nd and 6, and Durant trying to get something going. Crosser, Dressler breaks the tackle and gets the first down. Harvey Glatt couldn't bring him down, and Weston Dressler will move the chains.
You know, Harvey Glatt makes one little mistake here. When you're talking about tackling technique, watch number 6 on this crossing route. Here comes Weston Dressler now. He's in good position with his head on the right side. What does he do wrong? He leaves his feet. If he just keeps going and runs right through Dressler, he makes that tackle. Leaves his feet, Dressler can bounce off.
10 for Dressler, first down at the Roughrider 40. And now it's Rodriguez, and he can't find the handle.
You know, it's interesting here. A couple of plays now that Appreciate Rodriguez has gone across the middle. You know, I think the strength of Appreciate Rodriguez is on the sideline. You know, either if you send him on a go and let him use his size, he can run those timing plays on the outs. He's had trouble with those crossers. Guys like Rob Bagg do that well. We just saw Dressler coming across the middle does it well.
One drop leads to an interception. That leads to 2nd and 10. Jason Nugent, safety blitz. Durant does get it away to avoid the sack as Rod Davis pulls him down, and Durant thought he might have been horse-collared, and the Eskimos thought maybe he was already down.
No, but Rod Davis makes a good decision here because he's off the edge. Safety coming in the middle from Jason Nugent, so they have to block it up. Saskatchewan taking the most dangerous, which is Nugent, so they slide inside. That leaves Rod Davis open, and he goes to grab the horse collar and then lets go. A good decision in the open field. A split-second decision. We slow it down that much, it looks like it could have been called, but it happened quickly, and he let go of it.
Eddie Johnson, Kelly Campbell. And great play there by Kai Stewart, who's changed his number, wearing 41 now. Good special team tackle. Well, the Kraft Celebration Tour concludes tomorrow night in New Westminster, BC. Ron O'Toole will be there. SportsCenter wrapping up its tour of 10 Canadian cities in 10 days. Catch it live beginning at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, and then the nation can maybe take a rest after all the frenzy. Got a quiet third quarter as far as scoring concerned. Still 14-7 midway through this third quarter play.
That last break, Kelly Campbell has been receiving treatment on the sideline. Looked like an ankle injury. Limped off after that punt return. And they're still working on that to see if he comes back in the game.
Zabransky, there's the shovel. And Whitlock with it. He's taken down. Luke Mullender, and a flag on the play.
Shovel pass to 36-yard.
Mullender pleading innocence, and I'm not sure who the flag was thrown on. Looks like the Eskimos are marching back.
Holding Edmonton, number 69. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat first down.
That's the right tackle, Jeremy Parquette.
I think he throws Barron Simpson to the ground when he gets out into the open field. This is where he starts at that right tackle position. Now he's going to try and get to the next level up on Barron Simpson. He gets him and then grabs him from the pads and throws him to the ground.
Oh, first down over, 1st and 20. Back at the 19. Draw. And R.Q. Whitlock is brought down by Daniel Francis, who is playing that will linebacker spot as Tad Cornegay, the incumbent there, moves to corner for the third game. Mentioned Parquette, and he has a new coach, Tim Princeton, as Jeff Bleemer was relieved of his duties after the loss in Calgary. Brings in a former Eskimo offensive lineman.
Yeah, a little shakeup in the coaching staff. Mark Nelson, I mentioned the resignation of Dan Kepley and the addition of Tim Princeton.
And the release of Joe McGrath, a veteran now in BC. Second down play, and Jamaica Rector is stopped at the 30, so just beyond the original line of scrimmage, and it'll be third down.
Now that play, it looks like now the Edmonton Eskimos are sort of chasing. And what I mean by that is the last interception, Kevin Strasser saw Jared Zabransky throw back to James Patrick in cover 2-man. Now he's designing plays expecting 2-man, didn't get it there. So he throws the underneath stuff and he gets a different coverage, and they're going to have to punt.
5.5 to go here in the third quarter. Dorsey on the run. One move, but the second didn't fool Tim St. Pierre. The long snapper chucks up a special teams tackle. This has been a frustrating afternoon for Darian Durant, who he hasn't been able to sustain anything, has he?
No, and he's been off. He's been a little off as well. A couple of those crossing patterns to appreciate Rodriguez, one a little bit behind him. Yes, he was a little too relaxed and probably could have just knocked it down, saved the pick, but Darian Durant has been more accurate.
Ken Miller says he wants more surgeon, less gunslinger. We haven't seen any surgical strikes, and Mo Lloyd stuffed that play and brings Wes Keats down for a loss.
But, you know, in the big picture and the overall look at this game coming in, with the way the Edmonton Eskimos start the season at 1-6, and a 5-2 Rider team coming off a big win against the BC Lions, you know, on paper, and at 14-0, I'm sure Richie Hall was thinking, whoa, boy. So I think in the big picture right now, Edmonton, this deep into the third, has to feel pretty good about themselves.
6 receivers set, 2nd and 13. Durant took a long time, and there's a pass that falls incomplete. And again, you've got more than one receiver in the same spot for Saskatchewan.
You know, and this is what, when I'm talking about with Maurice Lloyd, that we talked in the first quarter. If Maurice Lloyd, and just watching folks on this play, if he does this, he will be the linebacker everyone expects. He drops into coverage, he steps up, he's not there at the original throw, he keeps turning, keeps hustling, hustles back to the football, and on the second try, hits Getzlaff.
Looked like Getzlaff had a chance at a highlight reel catch. Eddie Johnson just gets that away. Short high boot, and that was almost booted by the return man Rector. Kitwana Jones loses his lid, and Rector brought down at the 30-yard line. James Patrick has tied a Rough Rider record with 3 interceptions in this game.
Sometimes it takes a while. It can be upwards of 2 or 3 years. You can be a good player and you know, kind of sustaining yourself. But to really take another step, it has to slow down. The game has slowed down for James Patrick. His last 2 years, he had 2 interceptions in both of them. And now 3 tonight, 6 on the season, leads the league. I think it's slowing down for him.
Zabransky will take off and then get down. It's a first down run for Jared Zabransky. I think the first time he's done that here in the second half after putting that Rough Rider defense off balance in the second quarter.
Yeah, and Chris, when young quarterbacks have some issues in the passing game, their confidence starts to get a little rattled, and now you can see Zabransky out there not willing to pull the trigger. He's going to start to run more and more as his confidence in the passing game drops.
Penalty is declined. It's first down.
Zabransky with a 12-yard run. Didn't catch the penalty. Told an illegal contact penalty was declined. The 12-yard run stands, and now Whitlock bouncing around. And how did he get away from that? First down run, Archie Whitlock up at the 54 when it looks like he might have to settle for 1 or 2.
And he picks up enough for another Eskimo first.
Archie Whitlock had to be creative here. He gets the ball, and he needs a block on the outside from Kirkland, and he doesn't get it. Omar Morgan just runs right by him, and a whiff there by Tremaine Kirkland. So Archie Whitlock does what he does. You know, he has to now create on his own just to get anything.
Whitlock's up to 60 yards on 10 carries. And up Pascal Feast into the game. University of Montreal, or product, or Sherbrooke, excuse me.
Pascal Feast gives Archie Whitlock a break.
Led the CIS in rushing last year with 1,333 yards. Calvin McCarty remains out with a broken finger. See if he can get back for Labor Day and Calgary. Feast with a couple of carries late last game against Calgary for 27 yards. 5 there, 2nd and 5. Zabransky time. Andre Talbot's got it. And pushed out at the 12. Andre Talbot with his first catch. And he got it behind coverage.
Running the football creates doubt for defenders. Here's Darrell Freeman. Watch him come out and hesitate here. When Jared Zabransky gets outside, gets the corner now, Freeman's going to step up but not come and attack him. See, he stops and then puts his hands up. That gives an extra second to Zabransky, and he's got Andre Talbot with James Patrick coming up from the safety, designed play to come up and rob the curl. He ran the corner. Perfect timing on the call for Talbot.
40-yard play, the biggest of the season for Talbot in his first year as an Eskimo. R.K. Whitlock off the right side and down to the 7. Daniel Francis, Baron Simpson converging on the Eskimo running back.
This receiving corps in Edmonton has got to continue to block downfield when you got a guy like R.K. Whitlock. And a couple of times now, if this receiving corps here in Edmonton would maintain their blocks, Whitlock gets big plays. Because he'll make the first guy miss, and he'll cut back a couple of times.
They came up empty on the goal line, and now it's 2nd and 6 from the 7. Zabransky under duress, and he throws it away.
Quick study. A quick study. You know what he did, Chris? The entire play was designed to go to his offensive left. Every receiver on the field, even if they started on the right side, ran routes the opposite side. So when Zabransky scrambles here, everything is designed to go over to his left. Now, when he is forced to scramble, again, it's Brent Hawkins, he realizes he doesn't have a receiver over there. There wasn't one receiver by design on that side of the field. He had no options.
So Prefontaine comes on, a 14-yard attempt. And Prefontaine puts it through. And it's now a 4-point Saskatchewan lead. Final minute, 3rd quarter. Richie Hall's team has hung around. They were down 14-0 early, and looked like this one might get away. And now they're within 4.
And now does it set up the possibility of second-guessing a couple of earlier decisions on the goal line on a 3rd down gamble? Take a field goal there, it's a 1-point game. Easy to say after the fact. I know it's a team in Edmonton at 1-6, desperately trying to create something. We got down to the goal line in the first half and gamble trying to get that excitement.
Darian Durant to work. Rodriguez with a catch in traffic, brought down by Rod Davis.
Michel Rodriguez took a step back to that football, or there might have been opportunities for Edmonton here. This is where the receiver can really help out his quarterback if he can come back. Now watch 85 up at the top, up the field. Now he steps right between the 2 defenders and Rod Davis.
5th catch for Rodriguez. It's a 7-yard gain, 2nd and 3. And Cates looking for a first down. He'll get stopped short. There's Rod Davis again. That's the final play of the 3rd quarter. We're headed to the 4th. Saskatchewan up by 4.
Thomas from Curator.
Our 3rd quarter numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
This is a close game because the Edmonton Eskimos defense have played better against the run. I mean, 73 rushing yards for Saskatchewan. This is the defense in Edmonton that was giving up 160 plus per game. Saskatchewan rushing for 144 per game. That's about half of their total. So the run defense in Edmonton, Chris, I think has really picked its game up.
Roughriders won by 4 in the first meeting. They lead by 4 here. I can't help but think Eskimo fans are encouraged right now, and Rough Rider fans might be grumbling a bit.
Well, exactly, because, you know, first of all, half the stadium is Rough Rider fans. Second of all, on paper, this matchup looked like it should be about a 21-point lead for the green and white right now. Well, that hasn't happened, and I really think the run defense for Edmonton, a big part of that. Also, Darian Durant not quite on his game either.
Durant so good out of the break last year after an extra week of self-evaluation. High kick. And there's Jason Goss getting swarmed. Well, you mentioned the Saskatchewan fans here, and this is the first game the Roughriders will play that is not a sellout, and yet it's the biggest crowd in the Canadian Football League so far this season.
Yeah, just pushing up 48,000 right on the edge there. And, you know, you got to think about half and half, 50-50 right now.
Well, the Eskimos have averaged just over 30, so
there you go.
Do the math.
And a 4-point game, and I don't think going into the fourth that many thought this would be a 4-point game coming in.
Short drop for Zabransky, guns it over the middle. He's got Jason Barnes into Rough Rider territory at the Saskatchewan 50.
It's about timing and depth for Jason Barnes as he's going to come from here and head right into the seam, but he's got it clear in behind Daniel Francis and then just in front of the over-top coverage provided by Chris McKenzie.
First catch of the game for Jason Barnes. Moved inside to replace Fred Stamps. And that ball patted down. And that was
Sean Lucas.
Yeah.
Well, they had a plan. The Edmonton Eskimos have done this before. This is where they put a lot of their offensive line to one side, and they just leave quarterback and center by themselves. And the idea being they want to throw a hitch pass. So there's center, there's quarterback, and there's the rest of the offensive line. Now, they want to throw the hitch pass behind the O-line, but Lucas, he read the book. He's like going, I read your mail. I just didn't hang on to it.
Yeah, he just didn't seal the envelope. I remember the Roughriders had a couple of weeks to get ready for that after Edmonton used it last week, and Zabransky doesn't get away this time. Kit Jones.
An ideal player for that kind of play. I mean, you don't be surprised to see more of Kit Jones in the defensive set because of the athletic ability of Jared Zabransky. He's the kind of guy you can spy Zabransky and have him chase him down. He's really a tweener in between sort of a rush in and a linebacker. Undersized for the fight in the trenches every play, but so quick.
20th career sack for Jones. Dorsey lets it bounce, and it does reach the end zone.
Good decision.
And it's going to be a single point as the Eskimos draw within 3. Just over 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. CFL on TSN, brought to you in part by the 2011 GMC Sierra Heavy Duty. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. Team very much in the balance.
Oh, yeah.
Roughriders offense had 127 yards in the opening quarter. Only 81 yards since. Durant Rodriguez. Another catch for Appreciate Rodriguez, and another one inside.
Yeah, they're working Appreciate Rodriguez right across the middle, and sometimes he'll sit down in that, which he did there. Interesting, too, that Saskatchewan now trying to throw on first down. Last couple of series, they've tried to go with Wes Cates on first down and been forced to play in a bunch of second and long situations, 2nd and 7 or more, and consequently been forced off the field. So Doug Barry now throwing on first down and finds himself in a 2nd and 1. Ideal for an offense.
Nick Hutchins checks in as the tight end in the short yardage team, and Here's Durant with the sneak for a first down. We have not called the name of Andy Fantuz very much today. One catch for Fantuz early on.
You know, he has 100-yard game this season against Hamilton. 8 catches for 100. Last Edmonton game, just 2 catches.
He had the game-winning touchdown against Edmonton. That's the last time he has hit the end zone. Back in week 3, they go to a 2-back offense here. Second man through is Cates. And Wes Cates up to the 50, has 5.
Now the first meeting between these two teams, you talked about it, is down to Andy Fantuz. Last time he found the end zone, and that was 4 games ago.
5 for Cates, 2nd and 5. Need to get beyond midfield. 6 receivers out. Durant steps up. He's not going to get there. Rod Davis, Ty Ellis, bring him down short of the first down step.
Forced to scramble by 99, Kenny Petway in Edmonton's front 4.
Darian Durant loves to do this in key situations, and that's why, guess where the 2 linebackers are going to line up. Maurice Lloyd and Ron Davis are going to just sit right in there. Now they're dropping, but they've got their eyes on Darian Durant, especially number 40, Rod Davis. He's going to be the guy who steps up and stops his forward momentum.
Rector awaits. Eddie Johnson to kick, and if you joined us late, the Eskimos did block a Saskatchewan punt late in the first half. Rector at his 26. Drilled by Kitwana. Jones. Little impact there. You're watching the CFL on TSN. CFL on TSN, brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right. So a 3-point Saskatchewan lead. Just over 10 minutes remaining.
But we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Let's go.
And the Edmonton Eskimos have the football at their own 29-yard line. Marquis Whitlock and taken down quickly. Marcus Adams in on the tackle.
2nd and long. Kitwana's going to play defense, but he can play the teams as well. And he's a special team, just dynamite. That was a biggie to make a Rector. To time it up so that he's not in the 5-yard zone, but can still lower the boom like that. It's not easy. Kitwana Jones, one of the best in the business on those cover teams.
6 years in Saskatchewan. Remember, he was here briefly in Edmonton. Didn't work out. Back in Saskatchewan. Kelly Campbell back in the Edmonton offense after missing a couple of series. Zabransky stands in and he misses the target. Jason Barnes, the intended receiver.
You know, Zabransky's inexperience there. When that snap was low, the shotgun snap, it rattled him a little bit. And he had more time than he thought, and he also had an open receiver. And that's why he's upset and pointing at himself. I mean, the low snap for a veteran, no problem. But that low snap, now watch his feet. He's hopping, not quite comfortable. He has lots of time in there, and he has an open receiver.
Good kick by Prefontaine. Dorsey inside his 30. Still looking for a big return, but it's not here. At the 35, that's where the Roughriders will have the football when we come back. Well, it's a chess match now, midway through the 4th quarter in a 3-point game.
Think of the psychology of these two teams, these two coaches. One team at 1-6 coming in, fragile at best, and have an opportunity to knock off one of the top teams in the West. This game is on the table. The other, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I mean, they have been a 4th quarter team for a couple of years now, finding ways to win.
Roughriders 4-0 and leading after 3 quarters. They get it back in the hands of Rodriguez.
You think about, Chris, the Montreal game to start the season, 54-51. The Riders down by, I believe, 21 at one point in that game, come roaring back. They go into overtime, and there always just seems to be this air of confidence at this point in ball games for the Riders. They find a way to win games down the stretch. On the other hand, the Edmonton Eskimos in that huddle, what are they doing? This is where their leaders have got to step up. Rod Davis is down now. They're going to have him come out for 3 plays. But this is where the leaders step up and have to say, guys, we've been fighting through the bye. All the bad stuff that's happened, we have a chance here. We have a chance to turn our season around. You talked right out of the gate about Richie Hall saying, reboot the season.
Here's the fresh start.
And here's the fresh start. The game is on the table. Can be won by either team at this point. It's just the psychology of both these huddles very, very different.
Rod Davis getting some attention here.
And remember that the Edmonton Eskimo veteran, the guy who's taken this team to Grey Cup championships, is not going to be part of that reboot down the stretch here. The Edmonton Eskimos play Saskatchewan, back-to-back Calgary, 2 of the top teams in this league. If they can win one of those games even, that can turn your team around and your season around in a hurry. Because now, psychologically, is there a team that you can't beat if you knock off one of the 2 top teams in the league?
Javi Glad in for Rod Davis. Second down. And Durant going deep. He wants Dressler. And Lawrence Gordon makes the defensive play. Looked like Dressler was about a stride behind him, but Gordon's got blazing speed, and he caught up on the play.
That's exactly what it was. It's called make-up speed for defensive backs, because when Weston Dressler gets in behind Lawrence Gordon here, he's got a step and a half on him. But make-up speed, and that ball hung up there a little bit, slowing Dressler down, maybe just about 5 yards out of the range of Darian Durant with the way he had to roll there.
Gordon ran a 10.6-100 in high school, so the obvious nickname is Flash. And now the Eskimos on the Kelly Campbell return have the football.
Homeboy killer, Marquis O'Flord, Jay Johnson, all the boys down in the house. Shout out to my family if y'all watching the game, but I know y'all watching it. I love all y'all.
Eskimos have the football at their 36.
Y'all got the carry moment, so I'm going to shout it out to everybody. One love.
And Jared Zabransky gets a chance to be a hero here.
Oh, yeah. This is what every young quarterback dreams of, this type of opportunity.
Biggest opportunity for him since the Fiesta Bowl, 2007. There's that shovel again. It has worked on occasion today, but not there. Again, Daniel Francis, the little linebacker, brings down Whitlock.
So the Saskatchewan Roughriders adjust. Here's what they do. Remember when the defensive ends, last time it was Mullender, this time it's Hawkins. There's Francis in here. They're adjusting this time. Hawkins is going to go straight to quarterback on this play. He goes to quarterback, and then the linebacker is going to be in charge, in this case Daniel Francis, of running back. So taking care of responsibilities defensively.
Second and long. Whitlock has released. Zabransky sends it downfield and almost intercepted by Tad Cornegay.
And I'm getting, it'll be either Ricky Ray or maybe Richie Hall who goes over to Jared Zabransky. Well, it's Jason Tucker. And say, you know what, there's 6:28 in this game. Don't flop the field with an interception, and Tad Cornegay can't believe it. I mean, Tad Cornegay, you've got to love his versatility. You know, if I may be exaggerating here, but I think if they lost all their quarterbacks, he might be the guy because he's played almost every position.
Launched by Prefontaine. Here's Dorsey. And again, that cover team for the Eskimos has done a nice job to stuff Dominique Dorsey. Here's the line on Darian Durant. Since the 14-0 lead, the Roughriders had 10 possessions, 7 punts, a block punt, a fumble, and an interception. They haven't had a whole lot going since the first quarter.
You know, and his touchdown pass totals are dwindling as well. When you look at 5 touchdowns in game 1 versus Montreal, 6 in his last 6 games.
Direct snap, West Cates. And Petway hanging on as play is halted. First time we've seen that from the Roughriders in this game. The direct snap to the running back.
You know, this looks like routine, but for Jeremy O'Day, the center, right there, this is tricky. I mean, he's got to now snap it just off to the right and kind of lead West Cates to the hole. He made it look easy. It's difficult.
14-year vet, Jeremy O'Day, 6-yard pickup, 2nd and 4. There's Fantuz, the catch. TJ Hill, the tackle, and it looks like it's going to be 3rd down Saskatchewan.
Not to mention that take a look and see how close they are here, but I just want to show you Jeremy O'Day again. I mean, you mentioned veteran of 14 years. And he's got to make that shotgun snap, block the linebacker, call the defensive front, give his quarterback time, and they're going to have to measure it. That's how close Fantuz got it. It's the quarterback of the offensive line is the center.
Now they're the length of a football short with under 5 minutes to go. 3rd down.
And usually, Chris, it's the center that the quarterback follows on plays like the one coming up.
Jason Claremont and Chris Zarka check in as tight ends on the jumbo team.
What's interesting about Saskatchewan's huddle, you know how unusual offensive huddles, everyone faces the quarterback. The O-line faces the D-line. Darian Durant talks in behind them.
There he goes. The push is a good one again. Flag down behind O'Day and Chris Best. Good surge. And did the Eskimos give a yard?
Offside. Edmonton, number 94. It's a 5-yard penalty. 1st down, Saskatchewan.
Romero did not. Louis disagrees. It is a Rough Rider 1st down up across the 41. It's right on a roll. Dumping it off, and it's intercepted. TJ Hill intended for Chris Zarka. And TJ Hill has his first interception, and now the Eskimos have the football, and it's going to be Ricky Ray coming on to try and pull this out for the Eskimos.
Yeah, our cameras and the great work of the truck, they got the fact that Ricky Ray was riding the bike during that offensive series by Darian Durant. Now TJ Hill with a big play defensively. Take a quick look at that. Darian Durant tries to aim this ball in there. Doesn't get really anything on it. Throws it out in front of Zarka, who was beat to the football. Now it's Ray.
5th turnover by the Rough Riders. The 3rd interception by Durant. Ricky Ray, the Jamaica Rector. And Omar Morgan steps up to make the tackle. A gain of 4.
Interesting decision here. It really is. I mean, yes, you go with your veteran in the key point of the game, but he's also cold on the sideline. And you just get the idea that the Edmonton coaching staff were getting a little bit antsy with some of the decisions Jared Zabransky was making.
Zabransky provided a spark, but it was starting to stagnate. And let's see if Ray can pick it up. 2nd down, here comes pressure. Ray stands in, and he's got Kelly Campbell, and he dropped the football. Kelly Campbell, who dropped one in the end zone, which may have cost the Eskimos the game at Mosaic. Drops a ball that should have been caught for a first down.
Yes, it should have. And Ray steps up in the pocket to buy himself some time. The ball is a little bit low, but that hit right between the 7 and the 1, and Kelly Campbell's got to make that catch.
And there isn't a Ricky Ray critic that can put that one on the quarterback.
No, absolutely not. And it's a long field goal attempt with a returner in the end zone here.
Prefontaine trying to tie it up. Would be his longest of the year. And he's got it.
Money. Boy, that's it. That's having confidence in your veteran kicker. That's a long field goal attempt, and when you miss those, they're often returned the distance. And the veteran of 12 years, Noel Prefontaine, Jason Moss is the holder. It's down, a great hold, solid contact. Lots of football to be played here in the game, still on the line either way, but that's a money kick from that far out.
They were down by 14. They're back on even terms. Going to red. Rod Stressler in a battle and incomplete. Jason Goss is in coverage. There is a flag back near the line, and tempers are boiling over. Adam Braidwood in the middle of it. And who draws the penalty flag on the field?
This is big because there was no call at the end of the play. In other words, no pass interference one way or another. And if Adam Braidwood got one after the fact, I'm not sure if he started or he was just involved in it. It looks like they're giving Edmonton the options. That means it's against the Riders.
Major foul, chop block.
Oh, that's why.
Saskatchewan, number 57. It becomes second down. Second down. Timeout, 3 minutes.
Called for the chop block, and the 3-minute warning given to the benches. Tie game. Now Commonwealth Stadium in an uproar here during the break. 2:43 left in a tie game. And there's Mark Paranto called for the chop block.
Yeah, interesting here because he's right here. There's Jeremy O'Day. There's Dario Romero. Now, Romero's going to go past Jeremy O'Day, and Mark Paranto is going to come back from behind and cut him down low. Chop block usually is when you're engaged with one player, another player from the side hits your legs low. Now, Paranto did hit him down low and from behind.
Loss of the down, so it's 2nd and 25. Back at the Rough Rider 20. Durant steps up. And underneath it goes to Rob Bagg, and Bagg will be pushed out after a gain of 16, but it's going to be 3rd down. Rough Riders going to have to kick it away. The Edmonton Eskimo faithful finally was something to cheer about here at home. And they are relishing the comeback, and will the home side complete it, or will the Rough Riders be able to regain their composure in this final 2.5? There's Rector. And again, good downfield cover. We've seen that throughout the game. Jarrell Freeman with the tackle. And our game story is brought to you by Mr. Lube.
Chapter 1, 3 picks for James Patrick. One of the biggest stories of this game was the play of Jared Zabransky. We saw flashes of greatness. We saw some inexperience, turnovers. We have 9 combined. You can tell it's been a wild game, but there's one chapter yet to be written in the game story.
Ricky Ray back in. And there's a completion on Ray Talbot, and a big catch in the 3rd quarter has A first down grab here.
Well, you got to give Ricky Ray a lot of credit here because he comes off, pulled off the bench, finds Andre Talbot, goes to a reliable receiver, and Andre Talbot puts the football away, covers it up as he's going down, no turnovers, gets out of bounds. And Ricky Ray's been sharp. Remember, it was Kelly Campbell's drop. He's been on the money since his return.
43rd consecutive start in this game, and it looks like number 44 might be in jeopardy next week. Ray can change that here. Went through his reads and finds the fullback, Matt Bertrand. Doesn't want to go down and gets across midfield.
You remember when Aaron Fiacone, the center, gave Jared Zabransky a low snap, and he got antsy and he got happy feet in the pocket. Another low snap, but this time it's the veteran, Ricky Ray. Goes down, picks it up, eyes down the field the entire time. He's not taking his eyes off the coverage. Composed in the pocket, finds his safety valve. There's the difference between experience and a veteran, a rookie and a veteran.
2nd and 3. Flags fly. Movement along the line, and that's a costly penalty.
And those are the ones that this is what I talked about with just what's going on in the minds of these two teams. One is confident in these situations. One is just scratching and crawling to try and find it. And those are the mistakes you make.
Edmonton, number 51. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
That's on the center, Aaron Fiacone.
Teams that are looking to take that next step, they make mistakes like that.
So instead of 2nd and 3, 2nd and 8. And it looks like they may have been offside. No flag, and a great catch, Jason Barnes.
You're right, there was movement at the line of scrimmage. I thought there was going to be a flag as well, but there wasn't one. They all got back. We've seen this before from Jason Barnes. That layered seam route, timing good, the ball a little high, and he goes up, climbs the ladder, exposes his ribs, and comes down with maybe the catch of the game for Edmonton so far.
That gets them into Prefontaine field goal range. Whitlock, and a pulled down. Marquis Whitlock now down to the 34, so close to 4.
Here's that debate that you have in sports bars across the country at this time. You want to grind it out. You need one more first down. Do you get too conservative because you don't want to leave too much time on the clock for Darian Durant and then go and try and kick the field goal?
They need 6.
This is where head coaches earn their money. And, I mean, conventional wisdom, go try and score. But we're 1 and 6.
Into the final minute. Whitlock, conservative. And they're going to be at least a yard short, closer to 2 yards away from the first down. And you would think that the field goal team has to come on.
So that's the decision for Richie Hall. Play conservatively, go to the run game. You know you've got field goal range. Put the pressure back on it in Saskatchewan's court by going ahead if Prefontaine makes it. Richie Hall wants to know exactly how far he has to go, I think.
Richie Hall is sending out the offense, and Prefontaine's coming back.
Oh,
and they're not going to kick the winning points. 37 yards out, clock running.
Oh, boy.
And I don't understand this.
Neither.
Unless they're just running the clock.
They have to be. There's no way that Richie Hall is gambling. I mean, it is almost 3 yards. It's a long 2. It's a long 2. Yeah, there's no way.
Okay.
He's just running the clock down.
Roughriders called the timeout.
Now they're just trying to put a little more pressure on Prefontaine.
Boy, that's interesting because Prefontaine clearly came off the field. The offense went back on. Then the Roughriders called their timeout.
But a few seconds came off the clock before they did. Oh, they're putting a couple more back on.
Yeah, they're back up to 41 on the clock.
Okay.
Well, if they would have been stopped on third down, Richie Hall might not have got out of town. Now for the lead. Prefontaine got it. The Edmonton Eskimos have scored 17 unanswered points. And they're 37.2 seconds away from a major upset.
Yes, and they're celebrating like the upset is already over. That it's complete, but it's not. There's 37 seconds left on the clock, and Darian Durant has found some magic before. He's come from behind many times, but back-to-back enormous kicks for this franchise when you think about where they are right now, coming in at 1-6 to be able to knock off one of the top teams. It's not quite done yet.
Riders have been shut out for over 45 minutes. Over the middle, incomplete. Wanted Wes Cates up near midfield.
Talking possibly 6, 7 plays. Richie Hall now has to determine if he's going to send pressure at Darian Durant or make him throw it underneath and move it down the field.
Durant looking to the sidelines. Is it a catch? No. Incomplete. Weston Dressler unable to come up with it. And now they're down to 1 play.
Boy, and he made it close, though. Dressler on the sideline. That ball right out to the sideline. He gets it there, and just as he hits that white stripe, Richie Hall right there, the first guy to wave that one off.
Well, the Rough Riders know they're in enemy turf right now. It's loud. 3rd and 10. Bouncing around. Anybody there? Down the sidelines. Incomplete. No flag. And the Edmonton Eskimos have stunned the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The 6th turnover of the game for Saskatchewan. Well, a much maligned team. A defense that was shredded for 56 points 2 weeks ago. And now Ricky Ray just has to kill the clock.
Well, Chris, that's the decision of the game, really. Jared Zabransky provided a spark. Richie Hall rolls the dice. His quarterback's cold. He puts Ricky Ray back in. He wasn't spectacular, but he did enough to get his team in field goal range a couple of times, and Noel Prefontaine.
Money today.
Yeah, 2 big kicks for this franchise.
51 and 37-yard field goals. Richie Hall signaling to his family who are visiting here from Denver. He said, "They're my luck charm. I usually win when they're here." And he has done that in improbable fashion here today. And Noel Prefontaine, an enormous part of it.
The tying field goal, over 50 yards. The pressure on the kicker at that point is just enormous, and Noel Prefontaine nailed that one. I really believe, too, difference in this game for Edmonton than the previous 7 is that their front 7 played so much better.
They are resetting the clock and having some trouble adding a few seconds on here. It'll be a 4-point lead for the Calgary Stampeders in the Western Division, and now Edmonton moves ahead of the BC Lions, and significantly same number of wins as Winnipeg. And for Richie Hall, they're going to be 1-0
in the new season.
Clock winding down, and the biggest crowd of the year is going to witness one of the biggest upsets of the season. 17 unanswered points. The last 6, a pair of big field goals for Noel Prefontaine. No shortage of drama, storylines, and 2 men who have coached together, saluting each other at the end of a hard-fought game. So Saskatchewan drops to 5-3. There's Tim Princeton, a winner in his first game as the O-line coach. Richie Hall now 2-6. The final 17-14.